opening act for O'Debra at the Old Gate of Horn in Chicago, 1960, I guess. Eric wore shades, knew Hugh Romney and Allen Ginsberg, and liked his mescaline the best. For Eric, something as prosaic as time did not exist. And once he started drumming, he could not stop. And I soon learned that if our 8-minute act was not to be eternal, I must stalk his unwitting hands, getting the eyes of the audience with me, and then finally capture them, pulling them down, and throwing my leg in the air. Away from applause would follow, and I bowed profusely and dragged him off, fumbling and stumbling behind me. A 12-year-old blind accordion player. After which, Ella DeGanova, you remember her, the Irish lady? Said she'd help me with what she called gingerly, your unusual talent. So one afternoon, she inveigled Jose Limon, a great modern dancer, to come and see me dancing in her empty studio. I can see him now, leaning against the wall-to-wall mirror, massive, dark, and caring, while I danced and danced. When I was through, excited and panting, he got up, gesturing with those massive wing-like arms. "You," he said, "you." I could tell he liked me. My heart pounded. Was he really going to take me to that beautiful, breathing Limon company? My heart reeled. When I came to again, he was still there, looming in the center of the room. "You," he said, "you will always be alone. You will dance, you must. Do you understand? Do not be afraid. Just keep doing more and more and more." He moved slowly across the floor. At the door, he turned and added courteously, "Thank you for dancing for me. And keep working, that's a must." And he was gone. The breath left my body. He had no use for me, no home. Would it always be like this? Me flying, dying, hitting streets and walls, almost without a name. Would I always be outside this life, trying to get in? It was a sentence I could not bear to accept. Way back at 8, I read an essay in a book about famous people. This one was by Martha Gray. I felt familiar with what I read. She seemed sterner and even more New England than me. But with all she said, I felt at home. And whenever I reread that passage, I did not feel so alone. So now I took a chance and snuck over to the Martha Graham School. It was like a convent. Sunlit, subtle, severe, and so clean. Great, wide spaces, inviting dedication. I loved going there. I learned vocabulary for some things my body already knew. That live energy poured up through the spine, from that delicious place which they call the root of your body. How from that center waves of energy could support amazing movement organically. It was female and intoxicating, and I loved it. They did notice my difficulty with looking like the others. One day, Miss Graham had us all walk across the floor. I walked easily, instead of fighting each step as I took it. She screamed, "You! Stop! Yes, you! You think it's easy. It's not. You are leading something. The body is an instrument caught between coming and going. Don't just move easily. Suffer a little. Show us the struggle, the nobility, the victory. And later, as my hands stroked the air delicately in one of the spiraling floor sequences, she picked me out again with a fierce face. So you think dance is lovely? It isn't. It's life. Put your gut into it. Everything you do is boring. You're always moving on the periphery. A few days later, I was improvising freely before class in that vast, inviting space, and I missed the teacher's entrance and kept going. I was asked to leave for a little while, and I did for several years. But I returned later on to study there again, and I still feel at home with Miss Graham. Well, it never really ended. I was never accepted in any company from 1956 till 1970. By now I was 32, and from my poem dances and infamous nights at places like Steve Paul's The Scene, people began to know there was this person who moved quite freely and spoke much more loudly than most dancers. And if ever there was a role for someone who moved and spoke, they usually asked me. And so I did The Desperate Heart for Valerie Bettis, and Anna lived in Plurabelle in The Coach with the Six Insides for Jean Airman, and time marched on, and I continued to perform in any way possible. Early one morning, I was working alone in the studio and let in a stranger instead of my musician. He was crazy and pulled a gun on me, tied me up stupidly with masking tape. In an off moment, I got free and grabbed the gun. We struggled eye to eye for 35 minutes. He never shot, and no one quite won. And he'd just begun to tie me up again when he saw his bullets lying on the floor across the dressing room. He lunged for them. I did also, but my head had been cut and I reeled forward instead. In a dizzy flash, I realized he wasn't watching me and that for 1 second I was free. I flew down the long flight of concrete stairs, feet on air, out to where the sun shone carelessly and peacefully on 6th Avenue on a Sunday morning in May. I ran and ran crazily. People yelled for me to stop, but I could not. Until I finally did, in a bar called the Erin Rose. There, shocked, they called the police and an ambulance. I was hospitalized for head wounds and a huge bite on my arm. The doctors were very nice. Nothing really serious, they said. Only the bite is bad. Human bites are the most treacherous. Our lives are white and blue. In this field we wander through. Suffer me to take your hand. Death comes in a day or two. All the things we ever knew will be ashes in that hour. Mark the transient butterfly, how he hangs upon his flower. Suffer me to take your hands, suffer me to cherish you, till the dawn is in the sky, whether I be false or true, death is coming in a day or two. I didn't want to stay in the hospital all night. I persuaded the doctors I'd be all right at home, that my sister would come and take care of me. But once I got home, I really wanted to be left alone. I locked the door and didn't speak to anyone, not even the detective on the case, because I had the feeling people were using the event to furnish their lives while mine sank. I didn't go out because of the way I looked. I didn't answer the phone because of how I felt. Days passed. Finally, the phone rang. I did answer it. It was Lucas Hoving, the choreographer. He'd heard through his wife Lavinia that I was down and needed to leave town for the summer. And on his wife's word, with no audition, he invited me to dance with his company, which would be in residence at the American Dance Festival in June and July. Thank God, I looked very young, because the dance world seemed to believe I'd just begun. In their books, I was talented and 20, and they were giving me my first real chance to dance officially. And I did.
With Lucas at the festival, and then on tour with his company, and gradually in more appearances of my choreography, and finally with my own company, 3 musicians, a singer, and me the dancer, called Impulses. In sets like jazz musicians, we do duets, solos with group accents, and odd combinations like a trio for dancer, light, and cello. Everything we tried happened live, then and there, fresh forever. We did 30-odd concerts between 1970 and 72, but with no formal backing and funds lacking, the musicians had to move on, and once more, I found myself alone. I continued to tour the US in solo concert, but by now, being most known for my improvisational approach, the audiences wouldn't accept my set choreography. Oh, they'd say depressingly, just the stuff you've practiced already. So in a few places I took a chance and tried to do a fresh, creative dance to 8 young women singing Where the Bee-Sops There Sat Out, or to a classical pianist trapped in academia who came out of the woodwork to see if I could improvise to a rocky version of Rachmaninoff's Something Piano Concerto, or perhaps a little Beethoven.
In some place like Eureka College, Eureka, Kansas, it all came to a head, and I said no to all suggestions of local talent, announcing my decision from the stage. A groan went up. So in desperation I said, oh, all right then, give me a word, I'll dance to that. Reincarnation, someone yelled out. I'd been teaching them yoga, so I guess they thought that would be appropriate for me. I went easy. I waited politely for them to laugh and say, forget it, we were only joking. But no one did. They just sat there, wide-eyed, staring back at me expectantly. And suddenly, deep down inside of me, I heard a voice say, no, I will not go back as I found go. I've absolutely had it with standing on one leg and trying to look serene. Besides God, I hate shopping pink. I was moving around and saying more and more odd things. I do not want to go back as a monkey either, Lord. I want something better if I have to go back at all. I should be a human this time round. Oh, I know. You think that's the worst possible choice. Stupid and painful. But at least it wouldn't be boring. And I might get to know who I was for a while before your void sets in again. Well, that is how it all started. Here, there, and everywhere, young and old threw me a word. Any old word from anti-disestablishmentism to spaghetti. Once upon a time, tonight happened. Some of it was then, but this is now. We have caught up to the present. I've barely any more stories to tell. Unless you would like to give me a word. Any old word. Right here, right now.
Sumptuous.
I never say no. What?
Sumptuous.
Sumptuous. Excuse me. I can be any way you want. Do you like me this way? No, it's not bold enough. How about this way? Well, I really want to please. How about this way? No? Just be really relaxed. No, it's not athletic enough. How about this way? It's not really good looking. I know what you mean. How about, if we tried.
Sportsmanship. Are you ready, Freddie? Yes, I am. Are you sure you're ready, Freddie? Yes, I am. Are you ready, Freddie? Yes, I am. Are you really? I am. Are you? Yes. Good. Are you going to run this race? Well, yes. Is there anything wrong with you? No. Really, Freddie? Practically nothing. Why don't you have feet, Freddie? I don't need feet. Don't worry. I can do it anyways. Are you sure, Freddie? Yes. Sure. When is the horn going to blow? Well, they really don't know when to blow it. They're waiting to see all the feet in a row. Can my ankles do? Well, I've never seen anything like you. That doesn't matter. I'm a sportsman. I'm true. When that horn blows, I'm going to run. I'm a fly. I don't know why, but this day always bothers my hearing a lot. I don't know, it's sometime in the middle of summer, and I try so hard to get away. I try to find some place that day where I won't be in trouble. My friends, the other flies, they hate it too. We all collect together and keep our ears close. Do you suppose you know what they're doing? Who, the humans? Yeah, it's so weird. Every time in the middle of summer, in the hottest day, there's this terrible feeling that the world is going to end. I think they think it's fun. They always notice that we aren't around that day. Did you notice there were no flies on the beach? Never managed to stay on the beach with that noise. I am hungry. There are a lot of them out of doors. Do you think we might just sneak over to the big white table? Oh, it's a wonderful day for food. I remember that. Goodness, look at that. Oh, it's simply terrific. Potato salad. Oh, terrific. And oh, that wonderful hamburger. Come with me. Move fast. We have to hurry. Why? Well, because you never know when the bangs will start again. I think they're coming in. They're not coming in. Get back! That seemed a little closer than usual. Gee, that seemed very strange. I think that bang got me. Infinity. Oh, sure. No, don't worry, it's not very far. No. They say that to you just to make you feel like it's exciting and stuff. No, it's not far. Not at all. Just keep walking, you know. How long? Don't worry about that. That doesn't. Can you ever see the goal? Don't ask that question now. It might discourage you. No, actually, don't worry about it. There's a goal. There's no problem. You just keep walking. Has anybody ever made the goal before? Oh, now, too many questions for a good little girl.
Are you sure there's any place to go at all?
Yes, just keep walking.
What are you doing?
I'm walking too.
Have you been walking long?
Longer than you.
Did you ever get anywhere?
Oh, come on now, dear. Don't make things difficult for us. Just do as you said you do. Stay with me and keep moving, you silly little fool. Don't ask any questions. You'll soon learn the rule.
I wanted to know whether you had ever heard of anybody who knew where they were going.
Oh my God, I wish I hadn't invited you. You make this trip so much more difficult with your questions. I want to go on. Could we go backwards? If you go backwards, it's no different. You just have to keep going backwards just as long as you ever did forwards. Then this is really something without an end. You've got it, dear. Is there a name for it? Mm-hmm. Is it nice? I think it's quite pretty. What is it? It's called infinity, dear. Just keep walking.
We had a ballroom for one summer. My father found an empty mansion. It was a whim called the Ames House, and it was beautiful. Huge as a Newport dinosaur, and we had it for just one summer prior to demolition. The last summer for laughter in its corridors. The last summer for dancing in its ballroom. 2 steps down, 6 French doors, opening out onto an endless lawn and a trellis with roses. It was white as ballroom should be. It was spacious as ballrooms must be. And it was mine. I lived there. They couldn't get me out. Long summer daylight evenings, a summer moth trapped in the ballroom, fluttering, full of rapture. They must have wondered at what they had spawned, this fevered mutant in the white ballroom, through one whole summer, dancing